And the last episode was The Last Jedi of the Acolyte. This one, I have to say, is The Rise of Skywalker. The storylines get destroyed, characters make nonsensical decisions, the universe continues to just fall apart at the seams. It's just a royal mess. And honestly, I'm kind of here for it. Like, let's just be real here. The whole reason why we're even watching The Acolyte right now isn't because we love Star Wars. Isn't because we really care about these characters. We're just looking forward to see what the next train wreck is going to be in this episode. Don't believe me? Let's just start at the very beginning, okay? Let's start with the very first scene, for it paints the perfect picture why what I mean this show is just a giant mess. For we see Osha, she's coming up to a class of Padawans that's just getting out, and she meets up with the Padawan of Vardis, whatever her name is, I don't care. It's just Padawan, so we're going to use that. And what we learned from Osha in this conversation is that she's giving up the hunt for May. I'm sorry, what the heck? Why are you giving up your hunt for your sister? First, she's your sister. Secondly, she did try to kill you, so I would kind of like a deeper explanation behind why she wanted to kill you 17 years ago. And C, she killed your entire family. How does that not have at least a little bit of resentment still within you, wanting to go get retribution against her, bring her to justice for the murder that she's done to all your fellow sisters and mom and your entire group of people you care about? Like, how does that work? But no, she's just going to go ahead and leave. And she doesn't even tell Soul that she's leaving. She's just going to get her stuff together and get the heck out of there. Like, what? Like, what the heck's going on here? Like, just completely forget on how characters work. You've been building this up throughout the entire series, that there's a bit of friction between the sisters. In the last one, we gotta see her shoot a taser at her sister, and she escaped from it, but there's some resentment there, and now it's gone? She's just going to give up on the chase? Come on, guys. And I wish I could say that is the worst part of this episode. It just gets worse from here on out. From here, we go to the Jedi, and they're discussing what to do about May. What is she? Is she from some rogue faction of Jedi? Is she some sort of dark force user? Like, no one says Sith, but it's kind of lingering on around the edges of those who know the Star Wars universe. Like, oh, they must be thinking this is a Sith or something. They never say that. They never even really come close. They just think it's some kind of rogue Jedi group, which is fine. But for some reason, they don't want to go tell the Jedi Council that 2 Jedi are now dead, that there's this force user who has some dark tendency that's out there killing Jedi, but they're wanting to keep it on the wraps because they're afraid they tell the council then go tell the Senate. Like, I don't know if you guys don't understand this, but the council doesn't tell the Senate everything that's going on within Jedi Temple every single day. Yes, they're together, but they're more like 2 separate forms of governance. The Republic uses the Jedi as their negotiators, peacekeepers, but the Jedi aren't necessarily oath-bound to tell them details exactly what's going on within Jedi Temple. There are thousands of Jedi. Yes, would the Senate be a little bit interested in hearing that a couple of Jedi died? Sure, but I don't really think that that'd be a big of a crisis to be like, oh no, 2 Jedi are dead. Like, it'd be another thing if like 200 Jedi or even 1,000 Jedi are now dead. Like, oh, this is pretty serious. What's going on? What's going on here? But 2 Jedi who were mediocre Jedi at best, who weren't really in the public eye? I'm sorry, but no, the Senate's not going to carry all that much. So that right there doesn't make any sense. Also, to my fellow prequel fans, our childhood has also been ruined because they now have brought Ki-Adi-Mundi into this time frame. Yes, I know, Ki-Adi-Mundi, he's an alien species, so maybe he could survive this long, but from what I know in our old canon is that Ki-Adi-Mundi, his species, had about the standard same life cycle as a normal human, about 60, 70 years. So I don't understand how he could be at this time frame unless you completely rewrote his lore, which they did on the Wikipedia. Those woke son of guns have done absolute horrendous deals so far, and they did another scar against Star Wars here. I mean, I guess I can't say it's absolutely super horrendous. It's just to be expected from shows for current Disney Star Wars. Now, does it really affect the plot of the show at all? No, it means nothing. Having him there doesn't mean anything, but it does also bring up a question now when Ki-Adi-Mundi tells the council later on that Sith has not been seen in 1,000 years, but you've seen some Dark Jedi a couple years ago, so why can't those Dark Jedi be Sith? You know, maybe there's something more going on behind this time frame. It's just ruining more of the actual true Star Wars, in my opinion. But as I said, we're not here because of Star Wars. We're here to laugh at Disney Star Wars. That's what we're here for. So we're just going to brush this off as to just another crazy aspect to it. Also, they are wanting to use OSHA as bait for May again. So you used it the first time, didn't really work out well for you. Now you're trying to use this for a second time. Yeah, I can't wait to figure out how well this is going to work out for them. But I can't wait to see how this blows up in your face. Now, as the Jedi are making their way to the Wookiee planet where the Wookiee Master is, because apparently they have no idea where a Jedi Master is. Yes, I get he's out in a remote area, but he's a Jedi Master. Why wouldn't he tell his fellow Jedi, like, oh yeah, I'm going to this planet, here's my tracker, I'm going to be out there in seclusion for a while, but this is where you can find me if you need to. Like, it doesn't make any sense for him to just go complete 100% seclusion. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But you know what? That's just me. Now, as we get to that planet, we see that May and the apothecary guy are making their way to where the Wookiee's at. They have a conversation about OSHA, who seems to be in over our head, at least according to the apothecary's perspective. And we get this look from May, who looks at the apothecary for some weird reason. Like, she's thinking about betraying him, going back to OSHA. I don't really understand why, because what we saw in the last episode, she absolutely hated her sister. She blamed her for everything that was going on. So I'm kind of having a hard time understanding why she wants to reconnect with OSHA, even though she had a vile hatred for her in the previous episode. I guess maybe time heals all wounds, but still, she should be blaming OSHA for the catastrophe that happened. After all, usually psychopaths don't blame themselves for bad things that happen to them. Usually they blame other people. But this is Disney Star Wars, and anything goes, I guess. Now, the apothecary and May start entering into the jungle to track down the Wookiee. Now, the Jedi finally reach the Wookiee's planet, and they just so happen to have some rags from the Wookiee for a little mole creature to smell to track him down. Okay, that's very unlikely that you're just going to find someone's rags just laying around in the Jedi Temple who's been gone for, 7 years, 10 years? I forget how long they say he's been gone, but he's been gone for a good while. But you just so happen to have rags of him just laying about? Okay, sure, fine, whatever. So they start their hunt into the dark forest. And OSHA apparently has regained her force powers somehow. Don't tell me how she's able to do it, but she touches a creature and is attracted to her light side of the force. And so she wakes it up, and now it wants to eat them. It's like this roly-poly bug thing that just comes after him. Soul figures out that it's attracted to the light, and he's able to cut it in half before it causes any major damage. Now, this is just contrived BS in my opinion, but it's okay, fine, whatever. It's Disney Star Wars. If we're supposed to be freaked out by it, I guess if you don't like bugs, maybe you got freaked out by the scene, but there's nothing really here to really sink our teeth into. Regardless, the Jedi now continue their travels through the forest, and we cut back over to May and the apothecary, who May is now forcing to take a break because she just cannot move any further. And the apothecary is just like, okay, fine, I'm going to go forward and do some collecting berries and stuff like that. So we don't really get much in that scene, although we do get a conversation between May and the apothecary about how she plans to take out the Wookiee. If she steals the Wookiee's weapon, does that count? Because she didn't bring her own, she's taking his weapon to kill him. So he's just curious how she's going to kill him. I mean, it's a good question to have. At least there's some thought in that. Like, it was an interesting bit of the conversation. Probably actually the most intriguing bit of this entire show that someone's actually had some thought on. Like, so you're supposed to not use a weapon to kill these Jedi, but if you use their weapon, does that count as using a weapon? Or does it count as stealing their weapon and killing them with it? Because it's not yours, it's theirs. So does that technically fulfill the end of the bargain between you and the master? It's an interesting conversation at the very least. It's not all that deep, but considering what we've seen so far in this entire show, this is probably the best writing we're going to see so far. Now, from there, we cut back to the Jedi group as they continue their march through the forest, and then they lose their little mole guy. Oh no, the heavens. And from losing their little mole guy, we cut back to May and the apothecary. The apothecary is looking around for May, but he's not able to find her, and he accidentally puts his foot into a trap that springs him up into the tree that now has his ankle wrapped around in ropes. And May comes out of nowhere, and she decides to betray him out of nowhere for no other reason than, like, I want to be back with my sister again. I want to go tell the Jedi about everything, except for you know nothing. They already know everything you know because Soul scanned your mind, and you know nothing that can help the Jedi. You've killed 2 Jedi, so how are you going to really slide by? You're lucky if they don't give you the death penalty for that. But May, she has passion. She wants to go, to talk to the Jedi Master, to confess her sins to him, to have him forgive her so she can be with her sister. And she runs off and bangs the apothecary. And you know what she finds when she gets to the Wookiee's hut? Kind of what we all expected at this point. The Wookiee's now dead. Although he has a lightsaber gash that looks pretty shallow considering what we've seen in other Star Wars shows. Being stabbed by a lightsaber is no longer life-threatening, so this Wookiee is just weak sauce, I guess, from just dying from such a shallow cut across his chest. Now, as May realizes that her master is there, the Jedi all of a sudden show up out of nowhere because they heard the little mole guy scream. Apparently, he had gone to the Wookiee's hut as well, and apparently as soon as he saw May, he screamed. That brought the Jedi on over. Jedi surrounding the hut, telling May to come out in the name of the Republic, and just as things are getting so high and tense, a dark, shadowy figure comes from above and lands right behind Osha and ignites his red lightsaber. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. And he just flicks Osha to the side and he forces back the Jedi, and that ends the episode right there. I'm sorry. There's nothing really all that incredible about this. It was a dull-paced episode. You completely wrecked anything that has to do with storyline in it. Oh, so I forgot to mention hyperspace travel. So Sol and his group went back to Coruscant to give this briefing to the Jedi, to have a meeting to discuss what's going on. In the meantime, the apothecary and May went to the Jedi's planet, which should be closer to them because it's in the Outer Rim, and they're closer to the Outer Rim than Coruscant is, because Coruscant is in the core of the universe. So I don't know if you know distance between Star Wars, but it takes a long time to go from the core of the universe to the Outer Rim. And somehow the Jedi were able to not only get to that planet, but also were able to get outside the hut of that Wookiee, just as May found out the Wookiee was killed by her master. How does this work? The only way it works is if space travel doesn't matter at all anymore. There's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of distance. Literally, all these planets are within the same solar system. That's pretty much what this means now. Actually, it can't even be in the same solar system, because if it's in the same solar system, no, I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. Regardless to say, the whole universe is effed. It's not as bad as the episode before it, but it's still pretty bad in my opinion. Now, maybe this is me just nitpicking, but I didn't find anything really redeeming of this episode. You guys let me know in the comment section below. Did you find this episode to be engaging? Was it actually a good storytelling and I'm just off my rocker? I look forward to hear what you guys got to say. Leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.